Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and, without saying a word, completely dominate the room? Meanwhile, others talk non-stop, gesticulate wildly, make forced jokes, and are completely ignored. The difference isn't in the number of words or the volume of their voices. In fact, the most influential people do exactly the opposite of what most people think they should do to get attention. There's an uncomfortable truth no one wants to admit. We live in an age where everyone shouts to be heard, but those who truly command power are those who have learned to use silence as a weapon. While you're trying to impress by talking more, gesturing more, being more animated, there's an invisible elite that gains respect, admiration, and influence by doing much less but doing it better. What I'm going to show you today goes against everything you've learned about standing out socially. Get ready to discover why your need to fill silences is sabotaging your presence, why trying to please everyone is making you invisible, and how people who seem to do less get much more respect and attention. In the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly how to become one of those people, someone who walks into any room and, without trying, naturally attracts glances, respect, and genuine interest. There's a silent force that governs every social environment, and few realize its presence until they feel it firsthand. It's not the guy who gestures too much or the person who monopolizes the conversation. These, in fact, reveal their own insecurity through excessive noise. The true commander of the room is the one who possesses something much rarer: the ability to influence without forcing, to lead without shouting, to dominate without needing to prove anything to anyone. It's as if they carry a natural authority that people instinctively sense, even if they can't explain why. This person understands that real power comes not from the volume of their voice, but from the quality of their presence. Have you ever noticed how some people enter a room and, instantly, something changes in the air? It's not coincidence, nor luck, it's pure internal control manifesting externally. While most people arrive distracted, anxious, or trying to attract attention, this particular person brings with them a controlled energy that positively permeates the space. They don't need to announce their arrival because their body already speaks for them. Deliberate movements, cadenced breathing, a serene but attentive gaze. It's as if they bring a kind of emotional stability that others subconsciously recognize and respect. This transformation of the environment happens because, neurologically, our brains are always scanning for signals of leadership and security, and this person emits them. Naturally, here's the secret few understand: you can become that person without uttering a single word. Quiet influence isn't a mystical gift reserved for a select few. It's a skill that can be developed through mastering specific elements of nonverbal communication. When you learn to control your internal energy, you automatically radiate a presence that magnifies your social influence. It's like having an invisible superpower. People sense your authority, but they can't pinpoint exactly where it comes from. Think of figures like Steve Jobs. In his presentations, he didn't shout or gesticulate wildly, but commanded the attention of thousands simply by the way he occupied the stage and controlled his own rhythm. Gaze is the first power tool most people completely waste. There's a vast difference between someone who looks with calm peripheral vision and someone who stares invasively, and this difference determines whether you convey security or discomfort. When you develop the skill of maintaining a present but non-penetrating gaze, you create a sense of stability around you. It's as if you're silently saying, "I'm here, I'm attentive, but I'm not judging or invading your space." On the other hand, excessive staring intimidates and creates unnecessary tension. Social psychology researchers have found that people with calibrated gaze are perceived as more trustworthy and naturally charismatic. Your posture speaks volumes before you even open your mouth, and it can either elevate or destroy your credibility in a matter of seconds. Taking up space without overdoing it is an art. You need to expand enough to convey confidence, but without appearing invasive or arrogant. Imagine the difference between someone who sits hunched over, taking up as little space as possible, versus someone who sits with their shoulders relaxed, arms naturally supported, and spine erect. The latter automatically conveys a quiet authority that people instinctively respect. It's as if the physical space itself recognizes your presence and organizes itself around you. This posture isn't about domination, it's about conscious self-positioning. The rhythm of your movements is perhaps the most underrated element of silent influence, but also the most powerful in infecting a room. Slow, deliberate movements communicate control and inner power, while quick, nervous gestures convey anxiety and insecurity, and this energy spreads like an emotional virus. When you learn to consciously slow down your movements, you force the entire room to adapt to your rhythm. It's fascinating to observe how, in a tense conversation, the person who speaks more slowly and gestures more calmly ends up infecting others with their serenity. Think of great negotiators. They never rush, never seem desperate, and this bodily calm becomes a devastating psychological advantage. Breathing is your most powerful silent voice, and most people have no idea how it constantly betrays your inner states. When you consciously control your breathing pattern, you don't just calm yourself, you transmit that calm to everyone around you. It's amazing how a person with deep, rhythmic breathing can diffuse tension without saying a word. Your body becomes a beacon of emotional stability that others subconsciously seek to regulate themselves. Amy Cuddy, in her research on body language, discovered that our physiology literally shapes our psychology, and breathing is the most accessible switch of this transformation, even in silence. You are constantly communicating your level of internal control through your breathing rhythm. Micro-expressions are like tiny emotional leaks that can either build or destroy your influence in fractions of a second. A genuine half-smile at the right moment can completely diffuse a tense situation, while neutral, confident expression conveys unshakable confidence. The difference lies in authenticity and timing. It's not about constantly smiling like a desperate salesperson, but about calibrating your facial expressions according to the context. Paul Ekman, a pioneer in the study of facial expressions, showed how our micro-expressions are instantly read by other people's brains, influencing their emotional reactions before they even consciously process what they saw. It's as if you have an invisible remote control over the emotional climate around you, and micro-expressions are the buttons on that control. Your bodily energy is the most subtle, yet also the most decisive element in determining whether people will follow your silent leadership or not. It's as if you carry a specific energetic frequency that resonates with others in an almost magnetic way. When you learn to modulate this energy, reacting less to provocations, staying centered in moments of chaos, radiating calm when others are agitated, to become an emotional reference point for the environment. It's not mysticism, it's pure neuroscience. Our nervous system is constantly synchronizing with the people around us through mirror neurons. The person who can maintain a stable and centered bodily energy literally infects others with this stability, creating a domino effect of influence that silently spreads throughout the environment. Imagine a meeting where tempers are high, voices overlap, and the atmosphere is charged with tension, and then you do something counterintuitive. You remain completely silent, not an uncomfortable or defensive silence, but a powerful, intentional silence that forces everyone else to adapt to your rhythm. It's fascinating how, in a matter of seconds, the overall volume of the room decreases and eyes turn to you, awaiting your position. This is the power of the emotional vacuum. When you refuse to engage with the chaotic energy of others, you force them to rise to your level of calm. High-level executives use this technique constantly. They know that whoever controls the pace of the conversation controls the conversation. Strategic silence isn't passivity, it's invisible leadership in action. In social settings, most people make the mistake of trying to impress through excess. They talk too much, laugh too loudly, and gesticulate too much. But there is a much more powerful strategy that goes in the opposite direction, holding back your energy and smiling sparingly and with intention. When you don't freely give away your approval and attention, you make them valuable, and people naturally gravitate toward what's scarce and valuable. It's as if you become a social magnet instead of chasing connections. They start seeking you out. The controlled scarcity of your social energy makes it more valuable. When you find yourself in the middle of a heated argument, there's a devastatingly effective technique few know about: consciously lowering your voice while maintaining a firm, unwavering stance. It's counterintuitive because our instinct is to raise our volume to compete, But this only fuels the cycle of aggression. When you speak softer, you force the other person to calm down to hear you, and this physical change automatically lessens their emotional intensity. Professional negotiators know that whoever controls the volume of the conversation controls the emotions of the conversation. It's as if you have a volume down button that works not only on your voice, but on the entire energy of the conflict. This quiet force is disarming because it's unexpected. While the other person expects a war, you offer a dance, and inevitably, they follow your lead. There's a clear line between silent influence and manipulation, and that difference lies in the source of your intention and the transparency of your methods. Silent influence isn't about deceiving or controlling others for your own benefit. It's about developing self-control so solid that it naturally becomes visible and inspiring to those around you. When you genuinely work on your own inner development, your presence automatically becomes more magnetic, not because you're trying to manipulate, but because you've become someone worth following. Manipulators use techniques to hide their insecurities. People with silent influence use the same techniques to express their authenticity. The difference lies in the foundation. A house built on lies crumbles. A house built on self-knowledge grows stronger over time. The person who can control their own body and silence possesses something most never develop: the ability to influence through example, not coercion. It's as if they carry a natural authority that doesn't need to be imposed, because it's genuinely earned. When you master your own emotional reactions, when you control your impulses, when you maintain a steady energy regardless of the chaos around you, you become a beacon of stability that others naturally respect and follow. It's not about power over others. It's about power over yourself, and this internal power inevitably reflects externally. Robert Greene, in The 48 Laws of Power, mentions that true power never needs to be announced because it manifests naturally through consistent actions and authentic presence. Now it's time to put this transformation into practice. The next time you enter any environment, be it a meeting, a party, a family gathering, do so without rushing and without the desperate need to prove your worth. Simply walk in, breathe deeply, occupy your space naturally, and observe how the atmosphere slowly shifts around you. Don't force anything. Don't perform anything. Just be the person who has already developed enough internal control to no longer need constant external validation. It's amazing how, when you stop chasing approval, it naturally begins to flow your way. This isn't a technique you use once. It's a way of being that, the more you practice, the more it becomes a natural part of who you are. Invisible command isn't something you do, it's something you become. Now you have in your hands something most people will never discover: the power to influence without forcing, to lead without shouting, to dominate environments through what you don't do. But here's the crucial point: knowledge without application is just entertainment. You can watch 1,000 videos on influence, read dozens of books on presence, but if you don't put it into practice, you'll remain just another member of the crowd complaining about being invisible. So I challenge you. What will be the first situation where you'll test this invisible command? Will it be that work meeting where you always feel diminished? That social gathering where you tend to try too hard to be noticed? Or perhaps a difficult conversation you've been avoiding because you don't feel strong enough? Stop for a second and visualize. What would it be like to enter these environments with this new energy, controlling your pace, taking up your space, using silence as a tool of power? The difference between someone who watches and someone who transforms their lives lies in a single word: action. You can continue to consume content or become someone who applies knowledge. The choice is yours. But remember, every day that passes without applying what you've learned is another day, maintaining the same results you already have. If this video opened your eyes to a new way of existing in the world, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.